Namaste, Jai Shri Ram. This is your host and your dost RJ Megha back on my show Satat Swadharma. Today's topic is enlightening but at the same time disturbing for all our Hindus in Bangladesh, because I know we've all been hearing about what is happening to Hindus in Bangladesh, but to give us detailed insights of why it's happening, what are the reasons behind it, and how can we as local audience or public support in preventing these atrocities. Let me welcome my guest, Jamal Hasan G, who has a huge background in Bangladesh and will talk. Jamal G, welcome on my show, Satat Swadharma. How are you?
Fine. Good afternoon, Megha Ji, and all the crews of this Bharat platform. This is the first time I'm enjoying the moments at the Bharat platform, and I'm very much delighted. And obviously, I'm very proud to be part of you, the movement. I'm doing pretty good.
Thank you, Jamalji, and thank you for your time this afternoon. We have a very important topic to discuss. I will dive deep into it right away so that we save time of the audience as well as everybody who's listening to us right now on FM or TV. Jamalji, give us a little bit introduction about you and how you're connected to Bangladesh.
My parents are from Bangladesh. I was
Okay.
born and brought up in Bangladesh. Uh, During my childhood days, it was part of Pakistan. So I would say, in a sense, I was born in Didan, East Pakistan.
Okay.
So, I'm born in a small town called Faridpur in Bangladesh. And then my father was a prison chief. So because of his job requirement, he had to travel to different, I mean, basically he had to uh, move from town to town. So from Faridpur, we went to places like Noakhali, Jessore, Khulna, Rajshahi, then Kumilla, Chittagong, Sylhet, etc., etc. So I I had to take the cultural, what I call it, shocks as a part of my life, basically, because every region has different dialects.
Right.
So as I said, my formative year also I spent in Bangladesh, mostly in Dhaka, the capital city. I worked with the television, Bangladesh television. At the time, it was only one TV station. I was a news producer. Before that, I was a program producer of Chittagong Radio, which is called now Chattogram Radio. And
Okay.
not only that, I also served Export Promotion Bureau of Bangladesh as um, assistant director. So I had a diversified job experience in Bangladesh. So in a sense, I spent part of my professional life in Bangladesh, but majority of my professional life I had to undergo in USA, where I came at the age of around 31 or 32. So, and I'm an American citizen. In America, I worked in different libraries, federal, state, and later part of my professional life, I would say I experienced extraordinary job situation, which was called the DoD, Department of Defense job under United States Central Command. I worked with the counter intel teams, so I dealt with mostly counter terrorism affairs and also human intelligence affairs in countries like Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar. So, and afterwards, after coming back from the Middle East, I retired. I'm a retiree now.
Wow, that's a phenomenal background, Jamalji. That must have been years of experience, but also such diverse experience with people, with defense, with the US government. I'm sure you have an era of outreach and experience that you have touched in all these years. I am very curious to know, how did you get into defense in the US?
I'm sorry, can you repeat it?
Sure, how did you get into defense in the United States?
Or defense you are talking about, DOD.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, I had to take a competitive test actually, and
Okay.
uh, and in a sense, it is not yes and no. I
Okay.
am not. I was not part of the. I was not exactly part of the federal bureaucracy,
Okay.
but in America, many defense contractors are embedded in the defense establishment. So I
Got
was part of the private companies,
it. Mm-hmm.
which is a you can say defense contractors.
Okay.
So I worked with the companies, but in order to get into the job quest, you
Mm-hmm.
have to pass the test, qualifying test. So
Okay.
I had to pass the linguistic test because I am a Bengali linguist. Before that also I have to mention that I worked with the State Department also as a contractual Bengali linguist. So this was not my day job actually. This is my part-time job when I
Okay.
was working with the state. So
Okay.
as I said, it was not I was not a State Department employee, but I was embedded or you can say contractor for the State Department. But with the defense, it was a different scenario because I got a job with the private companies, but it was full time. But I had to go through clearance process because although you are working for a defense contractor,
Mm-hmm.
you have to pass the security clearance. So you have to go through not only the test, language test, you have to pass the security clearance. Then you get a full time job with the companies
Okay.
which are embedded with the DoD or Department of Defense. You understand? So my DoD background, I explained this way. Actually, this is that in many countries the situation is not the same because in I think that in India or Pakistan or Bangladesh maybe the army does not employ private companies. You understand? But in
Yes.
US it's a different story.
Okay. Got it. So Jamalji, I'll get straight into the topic. Everything that's happening in Bangladesh, why is there so much targeting towards Hindus?
This is a question I cannot answer in one word. You understand?
Yeah.
So this is a question of many things can come forward. If we just elaborate,
Sure.
religiosity, the demographic mix, and historical baggage. Many things can come, and the if you go back to the history of India, like even the Mughal time when the Mughal came and conquered, Mughal came to this land, and before the Mughals came, of course, there are other histories. You can go back and back, Mohenjo-daro, Harappa, all the civilizations, and Sanatan Dharma probably it dates back thousand
Right.
of years. You
Right.
understand?
Right.
But again, Ram, Ravan, Sri Lanka, and all this mythological thing or historical thing, which way you see there are a lot of historical mixes you can come. But
Mm-hmm.
when Islam came, the Mughals brought Islam, and I would not say that it was a puritanical Taliban type of Islam.
Mm-hmm.
Mughals were, I'm giving an example. If Mughals were as a puritanical
Mm-hmm.
or what I can say orthodox like
Mm-hmm.
the Taliban's
Right.
or the ISIS or Al Qaeda, then probably there would not be any Hindus left or non-religious, non-Muslim minorities left in the Indian subcontinent. It didn't happen that way. Rather, the Mughals, although they're of Muslim faith, Islamic faith, Mughals never pressurized others to convert to Hindu. Of course, among the emperors, you can say about Aurangzeb, you can say jizya tax, and but even then, you cannot compare Mr. Aurangzeb with Bin Laden, for example. You
Right.
understand?
Right.
So, uh, but the British, the colonialists, actually played the game of divide and rule. Hindus and Muslims, even with their differences during King Akbar, and again, King Akbar was a good epitome of what I call it, religious harmony, the
Mm-hmm.
Emperor Akbar. But British, when they came, when they ruled, and they found a game, the game plan was divide and rule. And they started to sow the seeds of hatred, animosity. So you understand how the British started the game, okay? Hatred towards Hindus, or Hindu from the Muslim side, and from Hindu side, hatred towards Muslims. Anyway, so what I'm saying, that Pakistan was the ultimate product of the Hindu-Muslim animosity.
Right.
It was basically cultivated the British rulers. So Pakistan was born with with the idea of non-alliance, or basically non-harmony with the minorities, and that's how the Pakistan started. Although it took the advantage of the grievances of the Muslims in East Bengal. Then East Bengal, remember, the Muslims were majority, but it is also true, if the Bengalis didn't opt for Pakistani movement, Pakistan might not have been a reality. So you understand. So Bengalis played a pivotal
Big
role.
role. Mm-hmm.
But you have to understand that unlike in Gujarat, I don't know which part of India you are, but it is also true, high caste Brahmins were discriminatory. Many of them were landlords in East Bengal. You understand?
Right. Right.
And those days, they were like almost like they were creating as a kind of a conclave, or a kind of I can say, demographical. I can say some demographers demarcation, and among
Mm-hmm.
the non-Hindus, non-Brahmins, for example, and many of these Bengali Muslims, mostly they were peasants or farmers, not very educated class. They saw the Hindu zamindars were mainly Brahmins. I don't know it happened in your place, but I can tell you, even some my Kayastha friends who were not Brahmins, they even not allowed to go to ponds owned by Brahmins. So there are kind of a discriminatory thing was going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Jinnah took advantage of this kind of grievances. Remember, so it was not very ideal situation among Hindu-Muslim, equation.
Correct.
So Pakistan came into being, and many East Pakistanis were constantly bombarded with anti-Hindu, anti-India thing, propaganda. And what happened? Then Bengalis of East Pakistan realized, oh God, we made a mistake. We are coming from frying pan to the fire. How? Oh, instead of we got rid of the Zamindar Brahmins. Now we have got new Zamindars from West Pakistan, actually, which was mainly ruled by West Pakistan, mainly ruled by Punjabi, autocrats, or army
Mm-hmm.
people, or landlords. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Pakistan, initially, what you say, the rulers of Pakistan were basically the children of landlords, or high priests, or soldiers, or officers from Punjabi ethnic group. So then, obviously, the Bengali Muslims revolted. They have 1952 language movement, Bengali nationalism, where the I say groundwork of the Bengali leaders. Sheikh Mujib is one of them, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, who became the founding father of Bangladesh. But the thing is that Hindu-Muslim relationship was not, not, I would say, if you can say, not in a greatest situation ever, even after 1947. So, but Bengali Muslims fought against West Pakistani zamindars, or West Pakistani oligarchy, whatever you call it.
Mm-hmm.
The Hindus supported. 1971 came, Pakistani army brutally attacked the unarmed people of Dhaka and other places. 25th March, and teachers were massacred in Dhaka University campus. Hindu Muslims fought against Pakistani hegemony, against Yahya Khan, the General Yahya Khan. Okay,
Okay.
in 1971 probably there was a population. If you go to the population census, maybe you can say more than 20% people of newly emerged Bangladesh were Hindus.
Okay.
But gradually, what happened? No government of newly emerged country called Bangladesh seriously look into the Hindu-Muslim relationship or the grievances of the minority Hindus, how to address those. I would say none of the governments did any good job dealing with that, tackling that. So time to time there were riots. Remember, in 1956, I was in Khulna. I was a small kid in Khulna. Khulna had my place in Bangladesh, port town, port city, Khulna. There was like a 56% were Hindus, but there was a riot in maybe in 60s when Khan came to power, and the riot came because of somebody stole allegedly that hair piece of Prophet Muhammad, and and that's why the riot broke out in Khulna, and overnight, it became, the Hindus became minority in Khulna. So from 56, 57% to they became like 20%. Anyway, so this happened. I'm talking about, it was a Pakistan time in 1956. But
Right.
after liberation, there are problems. That is true during time of, especially Ershad time, Babri Mosque. Anytime anything happens, any event or any tragedy happens in India against Muslims or Muslim shrine or anything, effect comes in Bangladesh. So it is unfortunately it's like the ties of global ummatic thing, or Muslim brotherhood feeling, or whatever you call it. So
Mm-hmm.
Babri Mosque destruction. After that, there are a lot of Hindu temples were destroyed during time of General Shah, who was in power in Bangladesh. You understand? So each time this happens, and you have to understand one thing: the minority Muslims in India, they fought sometimes riots, but also you saw the examples where Muslim minorities in parts of India, they fought back. You saw,
Right.
you can
Right.
find hundreds of examples.
Right.
In the case of Bangladesh, I don't know, because of the cultural thing, or ethnographical, what I call is ethnographic, what I call is background.
Mm-hmm.
Hindus, Bengali Hindus in Bangladesh or even in East Pakistan showed themselves very timid and docile. You understand? So whenever there was a riot, like burning houses and all this, and the Hindus mostly, what they just flee to India, and Mother India embraced. I have many friends of Hindu background who even after 1975, after the killing of Bangabandhu, many decided that Bangladesh will never be a safe place for minority Hindus. I'm talking about after 1975. And
Wow.
I saw my friends, many of their family members migrated to Kolkata, and even those days under different administration in West Bengal, it could be Jyoti Basu or Trinamool or even Congress. So under any administration, minority Hindus from Bangladesh uh, somehow could settle themselves. I mean, somehow they got their ID cards, or somehow, I mean, I would say Indian government centrally or provincially did not create an obstacle in embracing the newcomers from across the border. You understand? So
Yeah.
that's how it happened. Each time there was a riot, or each time there was a skirmishes, each time there was a burning of Hindu habitats, businesses. Uh, Flocks of Hindus would flee. Many times they would leave their lands, properties, just with one cloth. I mean, not even whole suitcases full of things, not necessarily. Basically, they would just flee to areas in West Bengal. And you probably know, near Calcutta, some areas, I mean, what you call it now, Kolkata, there are some areas where migrants from Bangladesh or East Pakistan living
Yeah.
a very, very, very poor situation.
Yeah.
If you go and you'll find out, you understand. Some
Yeah.
of them would not establish themselves as viable members of a new society. I'm talking about West Bengal. You understand? So
Yes.
that was happening, and I would say even during the time of Sheikh Hasina administration, it happened. Some of the party members, unfortunately, grabbed Hindu lands. You understand? During the last 15 years, it happened. Not as rampantly as under BNP rule or Eshad rule, because I would say if you consider uh, from your side, I mean, I'm talking about, I'm not on you, I mean, from the other side, from Hindu minority side, uh,
Right.
maybe Sheikh Hasina was the best among all. If you consider all the Muslim rulers of Bangladesh were not friends of Hindus, but I can say very well that Sheikh Hasina was the best. I mean, Awami League was the best. Although there are examples of Awami hooligans, Awami members, or some of the, I would say, rotten eggs of Awami League. They
Right.
grab lands from minority Hindus. Okay.
Yeah. So, do you see a political agenda behind this atrocity?
Now, this is the, you are talking, are you talking about the atrocity after 5th of August? I call it the jihadi revolution or
Yes.
jihadi upheaval. Are
Yes.
you talking about the current one?
Both.
Now, always, you can see there was always the politics, but this time, I mean, politics 2.0. I mean, before you can say that, yeah, there are politics, but but I would say uh, riot against Hindus during the Sheikh Hasina administration were never good for Awami League. So if you say politics, yeah, there could be. And definitely that if you say enemies of Awami League, it could be BNP, it could be Jamaat Islami, they wanted such a cruelty or animosity against marginalized minorities of Bangladesh. I'm giving an example. Like, as I'm speaking about this, Shahriar Kabir is a human rights activist, and he is a great friend of suffering Hindus of Bangladesh. Shahriar Kabir made movies, and he also went to India, West Bengal, in 2001. When BNP came to power, he was in India interviewing people who suffered a lot under the goons of
Mm.
Khaleda Zia's administration.
Mm.
It was in 2001, 2002. But Shahriar Kabir, when came back to Bangladesh with his camera crew, he was arrested and he was brutally tortured. I'm talking about in 2001 and 2002 under Khaleda Zia's administration. Shahriar Kabir made a lot of movies, and at least two movies. I mean, clearly you can see interviews of repressed Hindus whose houses were burned. You can see those are online. But same Shahriar Kabir is now arrested by the interim government of Yunus, Dr. Muhammad Yunus. So I'm taking the advantage of this platform to ask upcoming President Donald Trump of USA to look into the matter, because Shahriar Kabir is a great friend of minority Hindus. President Trump, you have talked about the oppression suffered by the Hindus. So you have to think about Shahriar Kabir, and please, when you come to White House, when you ascend to the power, and when you take the power of U.S. presidency, and definitely you will ask, or you will pressurize the Yunus government to release Shahriar Kabir immediately, because he had been doing a lot of works, especially unmasking the evil design of Jamaat Islami. And as we are talking about politicizing, yes, Jamaat Islami historically was doing this game, like I would say, devilish game of finishing the Hindus. Basically, that was the idea of Jamaati, for long. And Jamaat Islami was part of Pakistan, and Pakistani Jamaat and Bangladesh Jamaat are twin brothers. You understand? Same thing. In 1971, Jamaati people slaughtered Bengali intelligentsia. We know it very well. But that Jamaat-e-Islami was disbanded by Hasina government at the end, I think before 5th of August, couple of days before. But it was too late. Shariar Kabir was very vocal against Jamaat-e-Islami, and he made movies against. I think I sent you a video, Portrait of Jihad. You can watch it later on, Megha Ji. Portrait of Jihad also clearly depicted how Jamaat works. So now you have to see one thing. Jamaat, not only Jamaat, but also Hizbut Tahrir, the
Right.
most intellectual group, and that group played a vital role overthrowing Hasina government. Remember, Hizbut Tahrir. This party is banned in USA and in many Middle Eastern countries also. Unfortunately, that party is coming back, coming out of the what do you call it? It's holes, black holes. Somewhere under the surfaces is coming up, and you can see they're educated, intellectual, and but they are jihadis. So they Hizbut Tahrir, Jamaat Islami, and another group, Hifazat-e Islami, which was very loyal to Hasina to some extent, Hifazat-e Islami. They
Right.
actually want Bangladesh to be minority free. And now you're talking about politics. Yes, they want Bangladesh to be 100% Muslim, because so that they can clearly rule a country, or they can see a paradise or khilafah, what do you call it? In Americans would say caliphate. They want Bangladeshi caliphate, free of Hindus, Buddhists, Christians. You understand? Only Muslims will rule or live in this uh, pure land of Banglastan or Bangladesh, whatever you call it in future. So that is, of course, the political objective of the global jihadis or their local counterparts, if you say.
Got it. Okay. And how do you think, I mean, what is your view on the global impact of what's happening in Bangladesh today? How is it going to affect Bharat? How is it going to affect USA? How is it going to affect other countries?
Meghaji, I have told this again and again because I'm a security analyst
Right.
in USA. I worked with DOD. I'm still connected with many apparatus in USA. You understand, day to day, we
Right.
share information.
Yeah.
I don't agree with all the policies of USA. You understand?
Okay.
So in one of the videos in Bangla, sorry that you don't understand Bangla, but I clearly mentioned the mistakes we have done. But I'm given one example about Afghanistan, because about Afghanistan, I should tell you, I wrote an article in 1989 of the Russians or the Soviets that time. The Soviet army left. Then America also left. And I was asking the Americans, basically, I mean, lawmakers, that to stay there because I knew this would happen. Because I knew that America made a mistake by connecting with the Mujahideens. In Afghanistan, America supported the Mujahideens. Of course, we had to kill the Russians or subdue the Soviet Empire. You understand? So we had to get another devil. What?
Right.
The devil is jihadis, Mujahideens. Okay, after the Mujahideens, Pakistan started the Taliban. Obviously, in Pakistani soil, Taliban cropped up. Okay,
Right.
America supported Taliban initially. What happened? Taliban came, got the power in Afghanistan afterwards, after you say 1990, 91, and Taliban brought the Al Qaeda. They're another blood brother. Al Qaeda bombed the Twin Tower. America realized, oh my God, I made a mistake. Oh
Yeah.
God, oh my God. So America bombed Afghanistan. So this way, in Bangladesh, Mr. Mahesh Jetmalani, he's a lawyer, famous lawyer, and a BJP Rajya Sabha member. I think you
Yes.
heard.
Yes.
A couple of days ago, Honorable Jetmalani wrote a big narrative in his X platform or Twitter, and he told everything. I don't have to tell. You go and look into the link and see what member of parliament or Rajya Sabha member Mahesh Jetmalani had to say about Bangladesh situation. He said it all. He said, no, it's a stupid thing. Why should we extradite Hasina? Then he brought the story about Mr. Yunus, how he sold his soul to Clinton Foundation, Soros's son, George Soros's son, how they were involved in toppling Hasina government, how Yunus was a darling of Clinton's, Obama's and all. I'm quoting Mr. Mahesh Jetmalani, MP. Please read the whole thing. So I'm quoting him, and he said also clearly that it is today's this a whole fiasco or whole jihadi upheaval was engineered meticulously by Biden, Kamala Harris administration. So you understand. But what they will do, they want to make Bangladesh a Talibanistan in a sense, unknowingly. Mr. Donald Lu, who has been visiting India, recently Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and those are. I would, I should I say that they don't have any fertile brain or they are like a mentally challenged. I don't know, but I sometimes as an analyst I see America a lot of times make short-term gains. Okay, maybe they wanted a base. They
Right.
wanted naval base in what I call it in our Saint Martin's Island, maybe, or
Right.
maybe they want Christian state near the Cookie Chain. I don't know. My point is that security, when security, American security is more important than grabbing a little base there. America already abandoning bases in some places. You know that in Kuwait, I was
Yes.
deployed. There are multiple bases, Virginia, Camp Virginia, many bases America stopped and America basically abandoned. Of course, there are big bases like Camp Region where I stayed and I worked. But I'm telling you, when security comes, I would say I would prefer security over little base in Bangladesh because the national security.
Right.
Bangladesh already a fertile ground of jihadism. I know Mr. Biden or Miss Kamala Harris now sowed the seeds of jihad. Okay, now what happened? You know the student leaders who are advisors of Yunus, all of them were had background of Chhatro Shibir or Hizbut Tahrir. They are Islamist groups and they are very militants. And some of them even penetrated in Awami League. You understand? They were so dangerous. They were acting like part of Awami League, but they are jihadis of different affiliations. Now, they are proliferating. I saw a leaflet the other day and it's a armed group. Inkilab Zindabad is the logo with a AK-47 picture. Okay, in Chittagong, what they did, they have got a number of the people, the leaders. They will take care of certain areas around Chattogram in
Yeah.
the city, or you understand, they are all paramilitary group. What they are doing there? Who are they? Are they are they are they auxiliary force of jihadi groups? They have nothing to do with the Bangladesh government, nothing to do with
Right.
the Bangladesh army.
Right.
So, what I'm telling you, what outgoing American administration has done, big mistake. Bangladesh is turning into another Somalia or Afghanistan, or I don't know, or Libya, or worse than Libya. Now, upcoming president, Mr. Donald Trump. Donald Trump has to undo whatever Kamala
Right.
Harris, Biden, Clintons have done.
Right.
They have done for little opportunity, helping Mr. Yunus, the greedy man without any conscience, to help this little guy, little puppet called Mr. Yunus. Not only that, maybe grabbing a little land called Chittagong, or that place near Chittagong border, the island called Saint Martin's Island, a few miles or whatever square miles, small. Maybe there will be a naval base or whatever to contain China. Now, India is becoming big force. The good news, India already showed that India has independence and India can really deal with Russia and America at the same time as Mr. Pandit Nehru did years ago. But remember, those days India was not as rich as it is. Not India was not the fourth largest economy at the time.
Right.
India didn't have military power as much as today. So President Trump knows India. You have to reckon with this new India, and the global, not only global, I'm saying regional stability much depend on India. But unfortunately, Bangladesh is now a firing place. Bangladesh is now a bubbling volcano. Anytime it can erupt.
Right.
And what I'm saying, after 20th of January, we are welcoming the new year, new phase. And I did an interview before the day of the election, and I predicted Trump is coming, and I gave the examples and my logic why Trump is going to win. And we saw during the last Trump's presidency, Trump was not a warmonger. His only war was little surgical war or surgical fight in ISIS area containing part of Syria and Iraq, and he eliminated the ISIS empire in that. That is the only one. But we know that if Trump would have been the president, there would be no Ukraine war, which is happening now. So we are hoping, as I tell my friends, my relatives in Europe, they are all waiting for Trump. Some of them were left wingers. Many of them didn't like Trump before, but now they know because they're suffering because of the Ukraine war. I mean, my relatives in Sweden, my relatives in Germany, they
Hmm.
are welcoming Trump. I tell them, don't expect Trump. Trump will bring you the moon. But remember, it will be a different day. It will be
Right.
a new process of world peace. And in the Indian subcontinent, we have saw we have seen enough monkey dancing. It will stop. I can tell you that much.
Very nice, Jamal G. I love how patriotically you are connected with multiple countries, but so knowledgeable also globally, specifically with politics and its influence on what's happening in the world today. It was fantastic, Jamal Ji. I really appreciated your wisdom, and I want to continue a conversation more in depth about politics, about Bangladesh, about how this is impacting the other worlds overall, other countries, and we can do another interview if you are open to doing a part two with me.
Definitely, definitely, I will do. And of course, you can also because I've got very interesting, area of discussion in this case, like how this jihadi upheaval was patronized by the global Islamists. We also saw evidences. So basically, I know some of my relatives or close associates were misled because they thought it was a quota movement. And they thought, autocratic Hasina should fall down. But I knew there was a game plan by the global jihadis because I saw the writings on the wall, in July. So I knew who will be the ultimate beneficiaries.
Yeah, yeah. There is always a motive behind things they're doing. But yes, like we said, we will discuss more about this in the part two. I will have a lot more questions for you. We will leave the viewers and listeners with the hope that with President Trump coming soon in the next year, with Prime Minister Modi ji running the country so phenomenally as he has been doing, with Bharat progressing, with US progressing, we look forward for only growth and success and progress. And we hope the atrocities in Bangladesh stop right away. And that's our strongest message from myself as well as Jamal ji. And we request everybody to hope and pray the same thing, that our Hindus all over the world are kept safe, loved, and flourishing. Thank you, Jamalji, once again. Jai Shri Ram, my audience, and I look
Thank you
forward to
so
the
much.
next podcast
Thank
with
you
you.
so much. Take
Thank
care.
you.